Hi guys! Wow, this episode was 10 out of 10. I'm speechless. I loved it so much. I didn't expect so many things. But before I get into my review, if you're new to this channel, hello and welcome. I summarize and review the latest Erkenci episode, say what I liked, what I didn't like, predict what might happen next. And if you like these kinds of videos, subscribe to my channel and we will meet on a weekly basis. So first we find out that Mevkebe is actually in Muğla taking care of her father who broke his leg. Nihat didn't go with her because Mevkebe's father and Nihat don't get along with each other. So he stayed at home and refuses to eat any home cooked meal because Mevkebe is gone. So he orders a lot of fast food. Because of the fast food and also the sugar that Melahat adds to it, he faints right in that moment where Leyla is telling him that she and Emre quit their jobs to start their own business. The funny thing is that Melahat didn't care about the passed out Nihat. She cared about the information. Why did she quit? Why was that happening? It was just so amazing. I really love that fact that everyone was kind of taking care of Nihat not to eat sugar, to eat healthy. So we have Muzo and JJ taking care of the shop, keeping an eye on him not to eat any sweets from the shop. Then we also find out that Mevkebe kind of gave up on her shop, so it's empty, and now Emre and Leyla are taking over because they want to start their business there. Emre says he misses all the alone time with Leyla, so he has an idea. He calls Aziz and tells him that Nihat was in the hospital, he needs to be around nature, blah blah blah. So kind of hinting to Aziz that him and Miriban should take Nihat in. Aziz says that they will invite Nihat to have dinner with him, to let him stay over, blah blah blah. So Liam is very happy that they have the whole house to themselves. And I think that Aziz and Miriban were kind of taunting Nihat because Nihat was all on sugar. Like, he was constantly trying to eat sugar, unhealthy things. But everyone was giving him some cucumbers, some little salads. And then when they said that before and after every meal, they go for a 1 hour, 1.5 hour walk. And then they were walking to Sanem's place. Nihat almost passes out. Then they meet Dennis and Dennis tells them that Sanem is at a bar. And then I'm like, oh my god, don't tell it, Nihat. But then she digs herself further and further. And I'm like, oh my god, Dennis, please just shut your mouth. Because she says, yeah, she's in a bar. But then she says, yeah, it's for work. Then she says that Jan is with Sanem. It was just like, oh my god, shut up, Dennis. But it was amazing. Then we have Liam telling Janem that they quit their jobs, that they start their own business. Jan is actually saying that he wants to be their first client because they need some music for the Cleopatra ad, because Daran actually tried to get the music but it was way too expensive, so that's why Jan is asking Liam. So it's kind of a win-win situation. It was fun to see jealous Emre because of Leyla's first music teacher, and I really enjoyed it. And the fact that his name was Ferit Aslan, I don't know if it was consciously made that decision to call him that, but as soon as I heard Ferit Aslan, I immediately thought of Dolunay and Jan's previous role. And now to the main storyline, the main focus of this episode, Janem. So we continue the almost kiss. I'm kind of hoping that they would kiss, but at the same time I'm like, it doesn't fit, kind of. It just, I don't feel it. And that's what they do, they don't kiss. And the fact that Jan stopped it was like, really? Because I thought Sanem would stop it or somebody would interrupt them. But for Jan to be like, I don't think it would fit our partnership. You could really see Sanem being kind of disappointed, kind of like, why did you have to stop it? But then she agrees with him, and then she kind of apologizes for their close proximity because she didn't do it on purpose, blah blah blah. And they keep emphasizing ortak, their boundaries, that they are only business partners and nothing more. And then Jan says that he promised he wouldn't do anything to upset her, and I'm like, oh god, Mahar, like, how considerate are you? Sanem thanks him and then says goodnight, walks off. And when she walks off, you see her smiling, being all happy, and I think because they were that close. And then we have this amazing instrumental music in the background. Sanem sitting there starting to write something. You see John coming, and that scene killed me. I was all over the place. And then she asks him what is he doing, and he says, well, I thought about our partnership and the different meanings the partnership can have, like a common house, common dreams. Oh my god. And then every time he says something, he kisses her and is so close, and I'm like, oh my god, like that scene, it was amazing. And then they kind of change the angle and a feather appears, and I'm like, but then Sanem keeps talking, and then the music changes, and I'm like, okay, he's gone, it's somebody else, it was just a dream. And who was the feather person? Dennis. I'm like, oh my god, Sanem, you're killing me with your dreams. And then moving from this amazing scene, we see Yeet and Cemal meeting, bringing in the allergic reaction person whose name is Agda. Yeet tells him word for word what he needs to do, what he needs to say, that he will pay him, gives him a lot of money, blah blah blah. And I'm like, really? Like, how sick can you be to plan it all out like that, telling people what to say? I'm like, Then we see Can reading Sanem's book about a valley of breath. That's the name of the episode. It was written like Nifs. The next day, Dagan announces that she got an old customer back, which is a sailing club, and they want an ad with a sailor and a mermaid, and that everyone needs to fill out a questionnaire, what they find attractive or what they're looking for in a man or a woman. Dagan's explanation wouldn't make any sense, and I was just like JJ. He didn't understand it either, and I was like, JJ, we're on the same page. I didn't understand anything. But Sanem and Can explained it very well. And so the questionnaire is needed for them to know how to portray the sailor, as in what are women looking for in a man, and that will be portrayed by the sailor. And then what are men looking in a woman, and that will be portrayed by the mermaid. And Dagan was so amazed by their teamwork, kind of, that she said, just be a couple. And everyone was like, okay, that was too far. And then there was this back and forth between Canem calling each other neighbor, and it was just amazing to watch. Sanem saying that her taste in men changed. She's filling out the questionnaire. Then Can is filling it out. Sanem is trying to see what Can is writing, and her playing it cool, like, I don't care what you're writing. I'm not interested at all. Because Can said, do you want to know what I'm looking for in a partner? Because I can read it in your body language. And then she turns to Dagan and is like, I'm so interested. And then Gigi has to print out everything, and Can takes Sanem's answers, because at first JJ is like, yeah, it's Sanem, Dagan, blah blah blah. But then after Can is gone, he's like, or was it Dagan, Sanem, I? So he didn't really remember the order he printed it, and the same happened with Sanem. And in that moment I was like, okay, Can won't have Sanem's list, Sanem won't have Can's list. Then Bullock comes, tells them that somebody filed a complaint against Sanem's creams, and that person had an allergic reaction, blah blah blah. And everybody is like, how can that be, because it's all natural and stuff. And one moment was really funny when Gigi put on a mask from Sanem, and then Muzo was making fun of him, being like, oh my god, that's the mask that causes an allergic reaction, you're all red. And Gigi loses it. It was just so amazing to watch. And after they find out who filed the complaint, Can wants to talk to that person and tells Bullet that he should keep an eye on Sanem. And I really like how their relationship evolved from Bullock kind of hating Can to them working together. So Can and Miriban go to talk to Agda. Agda gets really scared, says that he has nothing to tell them, that they should talk to his lawyer. And then Miriban says, well, I know him. He doesn't have that much money to be able to pay a lawyer. Then Sanem is kind of gathering everyone. And then we have the same thing that happened in episode 1, where she's talking about Can. Well, where is Can? I don't care where Can is. And then he's behind her, and he's purposefully doing this with his stones to make her aware of his presence, and she notices it. And that's when he tells everyone that he found Agda, and that makes Bulot look more into who is Agda's lawyer. He finds out that it's actually Cemal's lawyer. We also have a little Yeet meeting where Yeet is very lost in his thoughts. Mama David looking at him, asking him if he's alright, telling him that he should focus more on his work, hoping that he would finally let go of Canem. But he gets really angry, and Mama Divit really sees the monster she created, telling him that he should accept that they made a mistake, that they can't separate Canem. But Yeet is like, no, they will separate, I don't have anything to lose, blah blah blah. Like, he gets really angry. I don't know, this episode we saw a very human Mama Divit, and I kind of enjoyed it, but at the same time I'm like, when Yeet's gone, who will be the bad person? Anyways, as I said, Liam tells Canem that they quit their job, so Can is going to Emre, Sanem is going to meet up with Layla. In a taxi, Sanem is talking to herself once again. The driver is saying, well, if you have anything to say, you can tell me, maybe I can help, blah blah blah. So she reads out Jan's questionnaire, and it says that the woman should be kind of cold, to dress elegantly, urban kind of, to be sporty, to be able to cook poached eggs, to be self-assured, and to invite him first to dance. And Sanem is very shocked that she's nothing on that list. Then we see Can back in the neighborhood, and while he's waiting for Emre, he goes through Sanem's list. I really liked his comments after each point he read out. It was just amazing. So he read out that he should be a gentleman, polite, elegantly dressed, shaved, and he was like, I can't shave, I'm not doing that. It was just amazing, I loved it. And that the hair should be neat and should smell of perfume, to support her decisions, not interfering with her freedom, when she's freezing to give her his jacket, and if he knows what she wants and needs to satisfy those needs. Emre comes. I really like their talk, and where Can is asking Emre if he changed too much over the past year. Did he let himself go way too much? Did he become wild? And Emre is kind of trying to make fun of Can, and he gets a little bit angry and saying, don't make fun of me, am I still attractive? Do I look like a neighbor? And then Emre is like, well, can you turn around? Let me look. I really love that conversation. Then we see Sanem questioning Layla if her style changed. Layla doesn't really understand where Sanem's questions are coming from. Anyways, Can and Emre also appear, and that's where Can is telling Liam that they will be their first client. And I really like that Canem is really supporting Liam. Layla then tells Sanem about Nihat's condition. Sanem goes to Nihat, asks if he's alright, blah blah blah. Can comes, and you can really see Nihat tense up, and Can was very nice, was very civil, saying that hopefully he will get past all those health conditions quickly, and if he ever needs something, he's just a call away. So it was very nice, and Nihat thanking him, but at the same time being very standoffish towards Can because Sanem was next to him. And then after Can left, he questions Sanem if she's okay with all the things on the farm, with the company, blah blah blah. So I think he was kind of referring to Can being so close to her, and I was like, Nihat, you have no idea how well Sanem is doing with Can next to her. Then we have Canem returning separately to the farm, and both of them went shopping to kind of change their style because of the things that were written on the list. Then we see Canem getting ready to go out to the bar where Ferit actually invited Liam and Canem to go to. And when they both came up their driveway, kind of, oh my god, like they looked so amazing. Sanem is just a beauty, and then Can, like, oh my god, how handsome can a human being be? Anyways, his outfit kind of reminded me of the press conference they had in Beirut, and also the ad they had for the bank. Anyways, he looked amazing. Then we have Canem arriving at the bar, Layla being very, look at their style, they changed, but don't let them notice that we noticed. And then Can signing to Emre that something changed with Sanem, to say something, and Liam being like, I don't really see a change. And then Sanem being kind of offended that Layla doesn't see anything. Then we have Can drinking from Sanem's drink and their hands kind of touch, and Layla is like to everyone, look at that, look at that. Can says that if she drinks way too fast she will get drunk very quickly, and that's what happens. Sanem gets drunk and I'm like, okay, we will have a Canem dance where Sanem is drunk once again. But before that, Ferit comes and we see the jealous Divit brothers. Can is jealous because Ferit seems to be a very big fan of Sanem's book. And to see Emre and Can's facial expressions while Ferit was there, it was just amazing. Anyways, Ferit calls Layla on stage. She starts singing and that song really fit Canem. And then they have this dance which we already saw in the trailer. Sanem asking Can to dance. They have this dance. And then what I thought was very, very adorable, kind of them still making sure that the boundaries are set, but at the same time trying to be close to each other. So Sanem is like, well, I feel kind of dizzy because of the lights and everything. May I rest my head on your chest? And the same goes for Can, where he says, I will take your hand, put it here because it's more comfortable, blah blah blah. It was just so amazing. We also get a Liam kiss. Anyways, everyone is gone. The bar closes any minute. Canem is still in their bubble. And then they go and Can gives Sanem his jacket and her facial expression is like, oh my god, it was just so hilarious. She was so surprised by Can giving her his jacket. And then he says, well, we will take a taxi, blah blah blah. And Liam actually convinces Canem to stay over. Then we see Layla and Sanem making Can's bed, so the couch, and then Sanem always coming back saying goodnight to Can, going out, coming back. It was just so amazing. Then we have the preview, which I analyzed in my previous review. And then my question was, how will they wake up? Will Can be all over Sanem or Sanem be all over Can? The answer is Can was all over Sanem, and it was just so adorable. But then Sanem, when she woke up, she was like, oh my god. But watching that, I was like, oh my god, I would have fainted waking up next to such a beautiful, handsome human being. And then Sanem was cooking poached eggs, making breakfast, and in that moment you can really see that Can wasn't the author of that list, because he said poached eggs, really? Anyways, they go back to the farm. Yeet comes, and when he gets out of his car, he drops his cane, and while Yeet is trying to get his cane from underneath Can's car, Mama Divit comes, and she thinks that Yeet is putting some bomb or something, so she gets really worried. Anyways, Fulo tells everyone that Cemal's lawyer is still not back. Sanem insists on wanting to talk to Cemal. Yeet hears everything and tries to stop her, but she's like, no, I want to talk to Cemal because those creams are very important to me. Can says, well, let's go. Mama Divit is very scared, so she tags along because she doesn't want anything to happen. So it was kind of an awkward ride, so Mama Divit being between them, it was just amazing. And then she's constantly saying to Can to take the car to a workshop because she hears something, and then she makes him pull over. So she walks around the car, looks at everything, tells Can to take a look himself, and that scene was a very motherly scene for me. In that scene you could really see her mother, human, caring side peeking through, and I really like that side of Mama Divit. Anyways, they arrive at Cemal's shop. Sanem confronts Cemal. The funny thing is that she tried to be very hardcore, being like, it was just amazing to watch it. Cemal denying everything. And then Sanem goes a second time to Cemal, but overhears a phone conversation Cemal has with Yeet. Sadly, she didn't hear Yeet's name, but she heard something about a warehouse where all the creams are stored. She wants to go to that warehouse. Can doesn't know where that warehouse is, but Sanem sees an old man who is a client of hers, loves her creams, and asks him where where Cemal's warehouse is. He tells them where to find it. They drive there. Spy Sanem is in full action. She sees all the creams being stored in a locked room. She sees the code, and then when she tries to hide from all the workers there, Can is also there. Oh, before that, before she even went to talk to Cemal, he tried to stop her, but then he remembered the list and was like, okay, I support you, I will stay here, you can go, do your thing. Anyways, they're hiding in a room in the warehouse waiting for everyone to go home. There they get very, very close, and they also talk about the lists, but then find out that they don't have each other's list, but at the same time they really like each other's new style. Anyways, they're very, very close to kissing. I was like, oh god, we're going to get a kiss. But a person from outside is screaming for everyone to get out, blah blah blah. Canem gets out. Can tries to open the door, but then Sanem puts in the code and he doesn't even question her anymore. That split second was very funny. Anyway, Sanem finds all the creams that are a copy of hers, takes a couple of them because Can says so to have proof, and then they try to get out, but the warehouse is closed, so they're jumping out of a window. And that reminded me of the moment when they were at a launch party. I don't remember, I think it was Compass Vote, where Sanem had that royal blue dress on and she got stuck in that window and Can came. When they got out, Can gets a call from the detective because Yiğit is meeting up with Cemal. So Canem drives there. Can gets pictures from old meetings of Cemal and Yiğit from the detective. Sanem sees Yiğit there. Yiğit sees Can talking to the detective, tells Cemal that he should just play along. Sanem comes, gets really angry. How can he talk to Cemal? Yiğit says that he wanted to confront Cemal because those creams are very dear to a friend of his, so he wanted to do something good for Sanem. You see that Cemal gets very angry and says that it won't be the last you hear of me or something like that. Anyways, Can is not very pleased by Yiğit's explanation, so he says, oh yeah, then explain to me, and then he shows the pictures. Yiğit is very offended that somebody was watching him, and Sanem is very shocked. Yiğit is still holding on to his story. Can starts to get angry. Sanem stops him and Can says, do you still believe that he wants what's good for you? And tells Sanem to think about it, and then walks off kind of disappointed. Anyway, Sanem is questioning Yiğit, and Yiğit gets very angry and says, since when are your creams that important to you? Is it because Can joined the company, blah blah blah? And then Sanem says, you either stay out of my personal life or get out of my life. And I'm like, oh my god, Sanem. And then Yiğit screams after her, go to your katikral. I'm like, ugh. So then we see Can about to enter his car, but then he stops thinking about his past mistakes, so he doesn't want to repeat what he did wrong the last time. So Sanem comes and he's asking her, why don't you trust me? Did I make that many mistakes? And Sanem says that she trusts him, and then he says, well, do you still think I'm jealous of him? Your happiness is my happiness, your problems are my problems. And Sanem once again says, I trust you, but in a tone where she's like, aren't you listening to me? I trust you. And then she says, don't turn your back on me, you can't leave me again. And then he asks her, well, what do you want me to do? And she says, I don't want you to go away anymore. Please promise me that you're not leaving. And he says, I'm not leaving, I'm not going anywhere. Can't you see that I'm where you are? And then Sanem says, I see it, I notice it. And Can is very frustrated and says, well, what do you want from me then? And then she goes in for the kiss, and I was like, what? I didn't expect it. First, I didn't expect it to be the end, which was ugh. Second, I didn't expect Sanem to go in for the kiss. And third, I didn't expect to see a kiss in that episode. I was like, oh my god. And now to Alex's predictions for episode 47. So we get a preview of Canem being very happy together. Apparently Sanem bought Can a boat. She wants him to teach her how to work a boat, how to do all the things. He is very skeptical. He's very like, are you sure? So it's just nice to see them kind of together. Then last night we got a trailer where we see Sanem apologizing for the kiss, and he's like, why are you apologizing? So she's blaming it on the sunstroke, on the heat, and then she tells Layla about it. She's very shocked, and then she goes to the farm and JJ is asking her if she talked to Cemal, but she says that they kissed. So she was kind of talking about Can, but JJ was talking about Cemal. So everyone is like, what? As in, what? You kissed Cemal? And then we see Sanem gathering everyone, telling everyone that she bought Can's boat. Can is telling her that it shouldn't be called Can's boat, it should also be called Sanem's boat, so their boat. I don't know if we will get such a Canem high like we did in this episode. Maybe we will get a little bit less Canem in order to move the other storylines forward. I think that's all. If I forgot anything, I'm really sorry. If you're still watching, thank you very much. If you like this video, give it a thumbs up. Leave me a comment on what your thoughts are about episode 46. Subscribe to my channel to see more Erkenci Kush reviews. Click that bell to be notified whenever I post something, and I will see you next time. Bye!